My name is Dr. Bird, Dr. Chris Bird, and I've been working on animal intelligence, the evolution of intelligence in animals, during my PhD at Cambridge. I've worked on a particular family of birds called the corvid family, or the crow family, particularly a member of that family called the rook. And so I've been working for the last 4 or so years on just quite how intelligent they are, how they go about solving particular problems, and how that differs from the way in which primates solve problems. Well, the rooks have a brain about the size of a walnut, but they're doing some quite remarkable things with a brain that's so small. Now, we know that rooks use tools, particularly we found that they would drop stones to collapse a platform to get at a worm that was otherwise out of reach. Now that triggered off a memory in my mind about Aesop's fable, the thirsty crow. Now in that fable, the thirsty crow can't find anything to drink apart from a small amount of water in the bottom of a jug. Now it can't reach that water with its beak, but there's a pile of stones right alongside the jug. So what does it do? It picks up the stones and drops them into the jug one by one, raising the level of the water until the point where it can reach it. Now I thought to myself, well, this is just a fable, but these birds are so intelligent, perhaps there's something behind that. Perhaps, it was based on an observation or something like that. We gave them a clear vertical tube with a small amount of water in the bottom. We put a worm, their favourite food, which floated on the surface of the water. Now they couldn't reach that with their beak, but what they could do was use a bunch of stones that we provided alongside the tube, drop them into the tube one by one to raise the level of the water up, thereby raising the level of the worm up until the point where they could reach it. And what did we find? We found that they could solve that task spontaneously without any prior training, in the same way in which Aesop's thirsty crow solved the problem. The whole area of animal intelligence started off really with people looking at primates. There were all sorts of things that were thought to be uniquely human that scientists have discovered, well, chimpanzees, orangutans, gorillas can actually do these things as well. The most analogous experiment to the Aesop's task, which we've done in rooks, was actually performed on orangutans in Germany, whereby they gave the orangutans a clear vertical tube with a peanut in the bottom, and the orangutans couldn't reach that peanut, but needed to raise it to a particular level where they could get it. Now they didn't have any stones in their cage, so what the orangutans actually did was to get a mouthful of water and spit that into a tube to raise the level of the peanut up. Now that's remarkable that two different species are solving a problem in a similar way using really flexible intelligence. They have completely different brains, but they've convergently evolved to be able to solve similar type problems. I think that the new areas of animal intelligence really are starting to look at the specifics of what are the processes going on in the brain that are behind these flexible sorts of intelligence. Humans, for example, can transfer knowledge that we gain in certain areas to other novel contexts. Now it would be interesting to see whether birds are, particularly rooks, are as capable of doing that as we are, for example.